Welcome to Scottsdale Center for Spiritual Living. I am Reverend Jill Clements, and we're broadcasting live from my home office today. And we practice life-affirming spirituality for successful living. So I'm just really happy that you're here with us today, and it's good to know there's a few folks out there with us. Like I say, Lori is being our moderator today. I thank you, Lori, for that. And I'm going to do that right there. There we go. And we are a spiritual center that usually meets in person, but with the world's current circumstances, we are meeting virtually and online. And if you're with us for the very first time, we welcome you wherever you may be on your spiritual journey. Know that you are welcomed into this community to explore and celebrate and walk the spiritual path with us. We're just delighted that you're here. And I'm delighted that all my regulars are here too. It's good to see everyone. Wish I could see your faces this morning. I'm seeing kind of sideways your posts of who's there, so hello. And I want to acknowledge and say thank you to Lori and Joe, who are both moderating for us this morning. And if you've got a question or comment, one of them will likely get back to you. Right now, all I'm seeing on my screen is your check-ins, and they're sideways on my phone, so I'm not even able to read them. But know that I will look at these a little bit later after service this morning. So today I have a reading for us, and it is from the book called Richer Living, which is by Dr. Ernest Holmes and Raymond Charles Barker, two of the giants in religious science and new thought. Ernest, of course, wrote The Science of Mind, and Raymond Charles was his right arm for a very long time, and they have a lot of history together. So this is from October the 25th. And God is the health of my body, the inspiration of my mind, and the good of my universe. We believe in the omnipresence, omnipotence, omniscience, and omni-action of God as mind, life, truth, and beauty. Therefore, all that we are, or ever shall be, is a part of the universal being. Our health is God in action. Our consciousness is mind in action. Our good is the manifestation of spirit. If we believe this, then it becomes our experience, for the law of mind produces it. Disease falls away from the person who is thinking in godlike terms. Confusion melts from the thought of him whose mind is stayed on God. The universe becomes a friendly, creative atmosphere to all who love the good and live rightly with their fellow men. Thousands have proven this truth in this way of life. The healed, the inspired, and the successful bear witness to this truth we love, for the law is impersonal. It works for all who cooperate with it. We now blend with all that God is, and the demonstrations of good appear. My health is the automatic expression of my consciousness. No illness can hold me in its clutches, for I rise on the wings of God's thoughts, into perfect health of body and mind. I am inspired with the living, pulsating ideas of spirit. The inspiration of the Almighty is mine today. I am led into paths of perfect activity, bringing good results. My universe is saturated with divine love and order, and it returns to me the good I am now believing to be mine as a child of God. God is the health of my body, the inspiration of my mind, and the good of my universe at this moment and throughout the day. Beautiful, beautiful sentiments this morning. Would you join me in an affirmative prayer treatment? So as we go within, we recognize the absolute and the allness of the good of God, recognizing that this power, this presence, is the infinite oneness and wholeness of the universe. It is life itself. It is joy and peace and harmony and health and prosperity. It is the infinite intelligence and wisdom, inspiration, intuition. For God is all that there is. And I know that as it is all that there is, that I am of this infinite presence, that I am a manifestation, uniquely made manifest in the mind of God, expressing here in form at this time and this place. And as I know this expression for myself, I know it for each and every one of us gathered here today, each and every one gathering in communities around our planet, that we are all connected in the oneness, the wholeness of the one life of God, the one mind, the one heart, the one source. We are that intuition, inspiration, that wisdom and intelligence. We are the peace, the love, the harmony, and the joy that God is in manifestation, in form, right here, right now. And so knowing this unity in which we live, move, and have our being and our existence, I speak my word for and about each of us this day, knowing, claiming, and accepting the absolute perfection of our wholeness revealed, knowing that we are anchored and grounded in this spiritual truth, this wisdom, this perfection of life unfolding, that we are divinely blessed with excellent health, vitality, prosperity. And I bless our service today and our internet connections and our connectivity, not only through this virtual connection, but in our hearts and our minds as we connect in the wholeness of consciousness, in this love that we share as the human family. I bless all faith traditions this day that are gathered anywhere on this planet as they practice, as they walk their paths closer to the divine, knowing the God of their very own being. Just blessing all paths, knowing that there are many ways to experience and express spirit. And so it is with a grateful and joy-filled heart that I release this prayer into the action of law, the activity of mind, knowing that it is already done, it is already so. And we affirm this together by saying, and so it is. So I want to also remind you that Lori is available to you for prayer. She's our licensed practitioner and also our ministerial school student, and she is available to you for prayer. We have a prayer request form on our website, scottsdalecsl.org, and you can go there and you can leave your written prayer request for her. She'll respond to you. Or if you would like a phone prayer with Lori, she will set up a time with you through the website also to do that. Just leave that in your prayer request, and she will coordinate a time with you for that. Lori, thank you so much for your service. We appreciate you. And I also want to say a shout out to Joe Hammer and William Kohler for their expertise, their tithe, if you will, of their expertise in coming by my home on Wednesday this week. And Joe brought some beautiful equipment for us to be able to utilize, but unfortunately this morning the Facebook connection wasn't cooperating. The equipment's great. And also to William, who kind of set us up in a little different look in the studio and got that taken care of for us this morning as well. So thank you, gentlemen. I do appreciate your expertise in coming forward and helping out. And that's what it's about in community, isn't it? Is everybody helping out and doing their part. So thank you to everyone. A couple of quick announcements. Book study is continuing. We are set up on a Zoom for that on Tuesday evenings from 6 to 7:30. We had a great time this past week just connecting with each other, and on the Zoom platform you get to see each other's face and interact and have conversation. So it's not quite like Facebook experience, but it is a wonderful experience in the Zoom platform. That information is on our website for you to connect. And it looks like Joe has posted that right here for you also. And Lori has also stepped into service with midday meditations via a Zoom as well. Zoom at noon for midday meditations on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So log in with her and just take a respite from the day, take a break during that lunch hour to have some meditation and quiet time with Lori. She is facilitating a beautiful service for us on that as well. That's also on Zoom. It looks like Joe's got the prayer request up, and he'll be getting up the book study Zoom and also the midday meditation Zoom. Or go to the website. It's all right there for you too. Something else you can do on our website is you can sign up for our newsletter. We send out right now one a week on Saturdays. We may be sending more communications as things progress. It's how we're trying to stay in touch with the community. If you're not receiving those on Saturday mornings, I invite you to just jump on the website and sign up for that. It's a couple of minor things. We just need your email and name basically. And you'll be getting that information, all those communications through the community at that point. So I invite you to do that. So this morning I've got a talk for us, and have you heard about the woman that found the lamp? She found an Aladdin's kind of lamp. You know what those look like. And she thought, oh, what the heck. So she rubbed the side of it, and sure enough, out pops a genie. And he says, thank you for releasing me, and I grant you 3 wishes. And she thought, and she thought, and she thought, and she said, oh, I just wish wishes didn't come true. And the genie was perplexed, as you can imagine. He stood there for a minute, and he kind of shook his head, and he thought, and he thought, and he thought, and he thought, if I grant the wish, then her wish is true. And if I don't grant her wish is true. So this is a paradox of contradiction. And that's what we're talking about today in my talk, the paradox of wholeness and humanity. And we're wrapping up our series, of course, for March, which is celebrating the divine feminine. We've been talking all month about the divine feminine and the sacred masculine and how God is all of that. And it is the allness of God that we're really talking about this month. But the idea of paradox and becoming comfortable with paradox, the self-contradictory statements that run contrary to our expectation, and goodness knows life is filled with those. But becoming comfortable with those can be one of the more challenging aspects of our spiritual growth and development. And as humans, most of us have developed some critical thinking, logical thinking. We rely on the past experiences. We rely on our education and our knowledge and what we know, and we have a belief system around which life works. And then these paradoxes happen that may seem to contradict or conflict with that. And when we begin studying metaphysics, we can bump up against those beliefs. And it can be uncomfortable for us because we have to reevaluate everything then. We have to reevaluate everything. And as I was thinking about this week, my questioning mind asked, why does the study of spiritual metaphysics, science of mind, seem so paradoxical? Why do some of the things that we teach seem contradictory or inconsistent? An example, is it prayer or is it spiritual mind treatment? It depends. Are we to be specific? Or are we to be general in our stated desire within that prayer? It depends. That is where this can be a challenging teaching for us. Ernest Holmes, who is the author of The Science of Mind, the founder of Centers for Spiritual Living, in his book, Richer Living, says the road to self-discovery often calls for the clearing away of the underbrush of ignorance, fear, superstition, and a sense of isolation, which has made us feel that we were unworthy, unheld, and lost. In the divine providence of good, salvation is unnecessary, but self-discovery is essential. And aren't we fortunate to be able to be together in a community where we can explore this road to self-discovery together, to share in that journey with each other? So let's consider some of these examples from the spiritual perspective of a paradox. In the Science of Mind, we teach that God is both principle and personal. It's principle because it is the source of all, the cause of all. It's a principle. It just is. It's personal because it's still very intimate and individual to us. It is transcendent, unequaled, infinite, beyond anything we can imagine, transcendent, and is eminent, indwelling, everywhere present at once. It is father and mother. We've been talking all month about how God is the masculine and feminine principle together. There is no separation. And that it is also both love and law. Well, all of this can sound like God's nature may be one of duality and opposites. But we teach that this is all one, whole, perfect, and complete truth in which we live, move, and have our being. No wonder spiritual discovery can be so uncomfortable and paradoxical, because we're learning to think a new way. We're learning to think a new way. But we know that it's impossible for God to be a duality. We know that that's impossible. And these descriptions might seem opposites, but in actuality, they help us to begin to expand our awareness and begin to understand that allness that God is. But it can be challenging to our limited human perspective. Ernest Holmes suggests in The Science of Mind that we cannot possibly perceive all that life is from this limited perspective. If you think about being on in a valley and looking out in front of you versus being up on a mountaintop and looking out, you have a broader vista from there. We have a limited vista from where we exist in our human realm versus that of the divine, that allness of God. In Ernest's day, of course, before internet and the ease of flight travel and so forth that we've had in our experience, even the space travel that we know about, it was even more limited in perspective. We have wonderful things on the internet and through videos that we can see under the sea and out into space and all, every inch of land and peoples on our planet. But we still cannot see all the infinite possibilities that exist for us. We cannot see that. We cannot imagine that. We cannot know the technologies and the medicines and the vaccines yet to be known, yet they are known in the mind of God. It's been really wonderful this week in preparing for this talk to see the good of humanity beginning to manifest or be broadcast anyway on screens. We are hearing of our National Guard here in Arizona doing food distribution and helping to hand out foods and make sure that the lines are orderly and so forth. There was a Mesa food drive. And then we're seeing them also help out in grocery stores. We're eating at home more, right? We can't go out to the restaurants right now, so we need more food. And they're helping to keep that moving forward. And we've seen a cosmetics company down in the Southeast Valley who's retooling, repurposing their production to not be necessarily making cosmetics, but they're making hand sanitizer. And he's also very adamant that he's not selling this sanitizer. He is giving it away to the people in the places where it is needed. To the people in places where it is needed. And we're seeing the same happening with our breweries and distilleries. They are repurposing some of their alcohol production to be able to also make hand sanitizer to help out in the communities where it is needed. Now, we can choose to focus our energy and attention on the negatives that are out there, the things that are not working, the things that are not to our liking, or we can choose to focus on the good. I'm reminded of what Reverend Dr. Kathy Ann Lewis has always said. She says, look for the good and praise it. Look for the good and praise it. And this reinforces our principle of what we focus on expands. And we would all love, I'm sure you join me in this, to see more good expressing on our planet. The good of humanity, the wholeness of humanity that we are. So our spiritual discovery work is to uncover all that is unlike spirit, all that is unlike spirit within us, and to heal that, to let that go. It's Reverend Dr. Michael Beckwith reminds us that spiritual growth is a process of letting go, of surrendering into the allness of the divine. Now, we are in the Lent season right now, and in pagan times, Lent was a time of celebration of the lengthening of the days, this springtime, as we are seeing more and more sunlight. In the Christian tradition, it is a time of giving up, letting go, surrendering, and preparing for the resurrection. Our focus is to uncover and to let go of doubt, to discover and release any limiting beliefs that we may have, and to convert our fear to faith. Never more important than right now. Convert our fear to faith. So all of this is possible for us when we remember, we reconnect, and we open our awareness to the experience of our oneness in spirit. And we begin to allow our humanity, with all of its foibles and smallness, to begin to recognize something larger, something greater than ourselves, that we do exist in the wholeness of humanity, that we do exist in the wholeness of the divine, that we are expressions of the divine light. We're all in this global pandemic together right now. And while we're physically separate, there's a sense of a collective coming together. There's a sense of a unity beginning to happen. We're united in our desire to find vaccine, to find healing, to provide more supplies for our frontline responders, for our medical staff, for finding safe and creative ways to connect in community. And as we've launched these rockets of desire, as Esther Hicks tells us in her teaching, the universe is answering us. The universe is answering us through the creative process, for we know that ask and it is given as we believe. I believe that the vaccine that we seek for this is already in existence in the mind of God, simply awaiting its manifestation into human form. And my prayer is that it is revealed now through us as humanity, to allow this virus to simply dissipate back into the native nothingness as quickly as it has manifest. It can unmanifest. As quickly as it is manifest, it can unmanifest. It was Ernest Holmes who said the universe, being deductive only in its thinking, cannot refuse man anything. The very force which makes us sick can heal us. The force which makes us poor can enrich us. And the power which makes us miserable can make us happy. If this were not true, there would be a duality in the universe, and this is impossible. So as you move through your week this week, and you're presented with the inevitable paradox or fear, remember that we see paradox, fear, and duality through our limited perspectives, perceptions, judgments, past experiences, and beliefs. When we're able to reach the new heights of understanding of how these aspects all work together, we can better understand that multifaceted nature of the infinite and of ourselves. Remember, we talked earlier in this year about the multifaceted dimensions of God, and how we use the diamond as our example, and the multiple facets in a diamond cut that reflects all of the different colors of light. That reflects all those different colors of light. So we can see these apparent inconsistencies not as contradictions, but rather as aspects of the wholeness of God's creation. So when we go back to the beginning, these perceived paradoxes that we talked about in the beginning of my talk, maybe we can see how we can experience God as both immutable principle and as personal, warm, and loving. And acknowledge that unequaled and infinite transcendence and the eminence of the everywhere presence that indwells us all. And may we understand God as being both the masculine and the feminine principles of every life, of every life. And may we experience God as both unbreakable law and unconditional love. The key to understanding the concept of paradox is learning to acknowledge and accept the apparent opposites as representative and contained within the wholeness of us all. Life is not about paradox as much as it is about expansion. And so it is. I want to thank you for being with us today, for joining us on Facebook Live, taking time out of your morning to be here and be in community with us, and for being a part of my life and a part of the life of this community, the health of this community. And it's at this time I'd like to invite us also to participate in our practice of spiritual practice of tithing. And if you are an automatic tither with us, you're all set. If you're not and you would like to be, you can click on the link. I think Joe has posted the link for going directly into our PayPal account. You can make a donation there if you would like to support the community, the mission, where we teach affirmative spiritual principles to create a world that works for all. And you can set that up on a reoccurring basis, or you can do it a one-time donation or an each week donation, however you would like to do that. We appreciate your support. We really do. It allows us to continue this teaching. And I know with the economic uncertainty that we're experiencing in the world right now, that this can lead to fear and lack thinking. And I want to invite you, though, to step into faith. To step into faith and realize that the world of effects is filled with infinite possibilities for us. And there are many, many channels through which the good of spirit can flow to and through you. And we don't want to shut down our receptivity in fear. We need to step more deeply into faith and continue to know God as our source and remain open to the many channels. And this is true in that idea that I mentioned earlier about the idea of vaccine and cure and healing, that when we get into fear, we shut down our receptivity because we begin to put up walls and protection. And I think we see this in some of the hoarding that we're reading about or hearing on our television, that people are in fear and they're shutting down, they're retracting. And that is not what we need to do. We need to open up to our faith and step in more powerfully to allow Spirit to express through us in new and powerful ways. So I invite you to take that challenge with me, to not shut down in fear, but to open up to the greater expression of Spirit as you. So I want to leave you with an affirmation this morning before we do our closing announcements and closing prayer. And that affirmation is, I am open and receptive to all streams of income. I am open and receptive to all streams of income. That's letting the universe know that you're available to it, to feed you in whatever way you may have a need these days. So a couple reminders. Go to the website, sign up for our newsletter if you're not receiving them on Saturdays. Tuesday and Thursday, join Lori Midday Meditations on Zoom at noon. And you can also reach out to her through our website for a prayer request if you'd like to pray with a prayer practitioner. And then join me Tuesday night at 6 o'clock on a Zoom call for our book study and discussion. It's a wonderful way to connect in community and see your fellow travelers, and we'll have some great conversation and some fun on the internet on Tuesday night. So I hope you can be with us there. All this information is going to be up on our website as well for you if you didn't get it all jotted down here today. So thank you for tuning in. I do expect that we'll be right back here again next week at 10 a.m. for our service. And I want to close this out with an affirmative prayer this morning. And again, thank you for being with us. Let's pray. how good it is that we can connect together in community, in recognition and celebration of the divine, recognizing that God is all that there is, the one power, the one presence, the one life, the infinite source of all that is, the all-knowing, the peace, the love, the harmony, the joy. There is God and nothing else. And knowing this, I know that I am an expression of the divine. I am that intelligence, intuition, wisdom, peace, love, joy, prosperity, wholeness. And as I know this for myself, I know that for each one of us gathered here today and anyone viewing this later, that we are all connected in the oneness, in the wholeness of the divinity of God, in the one consciousness and the one mind. We are connected already. And irrespective of what may be in the world of effects through this physical separation that we're experiencing, we know that we are connected at the heart level, that we are connected in consciousness, that we are connected in the one mind. And so from that place of unity and connection, I speak my word for and about this community, Scottsdale Center for Spiritual Living, knowing that it is guided, guarded, and blessed by Spirit as it continues its work in the world, knowing that each one of our members and guests and congregants and visitors is supported and sustained in life as we anchor into this teaching, into this truth, into our own knowingness of the source of our being. I bless all of those in the medical profession that are serving on the front lines of this disease and treating patients and people. And I know for all that we need in equipment and materials, testing and support is there for each and every one, that it is made manifest today in our reality. I know too that the scientists and the researchers that are working on the cure and the vaccine are sustained, supported, and uplifted, and that Spirit's wisdom and intelligence flows through them now for the creation of this vaccine. And I know for anyone that may be suffering from this virus, that it is healed and put to ease and put to rest, and calm and peace are restored to their body, that healing is revealed as them through them now. And I know for anyone that has anything on their heart this day, as we lift it into the consciousness of this prayer, that it is healed, that whatever truth needs to be revealed is revealed, that if prosperity needs to flow, it flows. Whatever is necessary is provided as we believe in this moment. And I am just so grateful for all who have joined us today, for the circulation of good that has come to and through this community, from those who have tithed their time, those who have tithed their talent, those who have tithed their financial good to this community. We are so very, very blessed to have this community, to have each other, and to have the good of God flowing through us. I am so grateful for the manifestation of this prayer. As I release this into the action of law, the activity of mind, I know that it is done, it is so, and we affirm together, and so it is. So thank you all for being here. I will see you on Tuesday, and I will see you next Sunday. Peace and blessings. Be well.